Okay.
Ready?
Hebeb.
Yebeb.
Kebeb.
Yebeb, hebeb, kebeb. Yebeb, hebeb, kebeb. I like this. I'm thinking of a language vibe.
The bliss of the abyss, it's here now.
Welcome back to the Bliss of the Abyss, where we find freedom in the unexplored and the unexpected. How are you this lovely Wednesday afternoon, as it is as I record it? It is always a pleasure to talk to you, my lovely listeners, and this week is no different. I have a wonderful guest this week, as I have been known to do of late. It's been quite a run I've been on. In fact, I haven't done a solo episode in a while. What with recording the radio show every Tuesday evening and trying to book guests, and I've got some really exciting guests coming up, actually. I'm going to go all academic. I've got a million academics coming up. That's what people want. People want academic chat, and you've come to the right place. Because although I masquerade like an idiot, I'm actually a very high-functioning, very intelligent young chap. Don't know about young. Shall we move on before you get lost in a self-referential circle? Yes, why not? Anyway, this week's chat is with Alex Morgan. Alex is an actor, accent coach, writer, and linguaphile. He's also written Rob is an actor, accent coach, writer, and linguaphile. The two have precious little in common. Alex, you old cheeky chappy. Although they do admittedly share an unhealthy adoration for the Eurovision Song Contest. Don't know what's so unhealthy about it. In an attempt to squash these interests into one, in 2020, Alex wrote and presented the podcast The Linguaphiles, that's files with an F, combining performance with his love of all things linguistic. He explores everything magical, mysterious, and marvellous about language. He also now regrets not mentioning the Eurovision Song Contest in the podcast Nil Point. Yeah, we didn't get into Eurovision, but Alex is a friend of mine, a long-time friend who I went to university with, and I've acted in multiple productions with him. He's a very talented performer. He's also got a brilliant mind. As you'll see when we get into this episode, we get quite heady and talk about all kinds of linguistic things and concepts around language, and it's not dry and academic, it's fun and frothy, I think, at times. And then things take a little bit of a turn. So instead of us reminiscing about how lovely it is that he hosts this Eurovision Song Contest thing every year, where what you do is you pick a country. Let's say one year Caitlin and I chose Sweden, so that year we turned up with a whole host of Swedish dishes that we had prepared. And anyone else at the party picks another nation and cooks food from that nation, and then you cheer on that nation during the very silly, highly ridiculous contest that is the Eurovision Song Contest. And I was actually never into it until Alex showed me the joys. So I have that to thank him for. But we didn't get into that in this episode. Instead, about 40 minutes in, I got a phone call from quote-unquote HMRC. For our American listeners, that's Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs, in America known as the IRS. So I get this call from the IRS, HMRC, and things go off the rails. So stick around, because it's quite the wild ride. And other than that, I hope you enjoy the episode. I hope you keep spreading the love. Please keep telling people to subscribe. Smash that subscribe button. Hit the like. Give us 5 stars. Leave a positive review. Yeah! But seriously, please do. And if you like what we do here, then we have a Patreon where for as little as £2.50 a month or a cup of coffee, we have a bonus episode every week. Where we play songs, we chat, we go crazy, and that's only for the patrons, but every now and again I'll release a little freebie just so that I can try and drive you endlessly behind the paywall. Got to keep the wolf from the door somehow, eh? But I will always obviously have the free content, always 100% for you. But I'm not going to ramble on any longer. I think that is quite enough of an introduction, and I have nothing left to do but with great pleasure introduce to you Alex Morgan. I'm hoping this is going to be a language file.
We can do
a linguaphile.
A linguaphile, yes, with a PH.
And we were just talking about, before we got started, Alistair Beckett-King's appearance on
your last episode, I think it was.
Yes, my last episode. So tell me what you were saying.
Well, I noticed that he he brought up Sticky Jack, the plant which sticks to you.
Yeah.
And you said that you call it Sticky Willy.
I do.
And he said, "Oh, maybe it's a regional thing, maybe." And I thought, but I'm from the south.
Yeah.
And I've never called it Sticky Willy. I've always called it. I don't know why it's called Sticky Jack, but yeah, why do you call it Sticky Willy?
Why do I call it Sticky Willy?
Yeah.
No, this might just be something that I've inherited from my mum and she's invented. It could be that.
Is it William or is it genital?
I mean, it's not Sticky Dick. It's not.
Well, but that could also be Richard.
That's true.
So we've got Sticky Jack, Sticky Richard, and Sticky William.
And together they are.
They are the Sticky Brothers. Is this? I mean, are there any? Is there very English names, aren't they?
Yeah.
We kind of get a sticky Antonio,
Right.
or a
If we're gonna have a barbershop quartet and have some Latin flavour added in.
yeah, or I don't know, whatever, a Sticky Mehmet or something.
Right. No, I'd never heard of Sticky Jack before. I mean, it's a pest, isn't it? So
I suppose so. Yeah.
I guess a Sticky Willy is a pest. If you've got one. And I've got people in my life who are called Jack, and I've never had a nice experience with any of them. In fact, I've
Have
had
you never met a nice Jack?
terrible experiences with people called Jack.
Well, Jack, I'm just going through my Rolodex of people I've literally ever met. Done. And it was very quick. Yeah. Either I know no one or I'm super fast. Yeah, and I've had good experiences, I think.
Well, then maybe I am the uniting factor of negativity here.
The uniting factor of negativity. That sounds like the title to an 80s sci-fi quadrilogy. Is there anything more? Okay, so you can have a trilogy. Can you have a quadrilogy?
Absolutely.
And a quintillogy. And a sextilogy. But that's possibly... A hexillogy.
No, that doesn't sound right.
A septuagillion.
Septuagenarian.
Octilogy. Yeah, that's also something I was thinking about. You can have an octogenarian.
Yeah.
Am I a trentogenarian?
I don't think so.
I mean, I hope I'm not, because it makes me sound super old.
Technically, I suppose you are, but I don't think the word exists.
No, I do. I think.
But
right.
like the root and the prefix and the suffix will work.
No, these words just make me hot.
It's quite hot in here, actually.
This is true. It was a sweaty night last night, wasn't it?
It was.
That storm has not
blown the cobwebs out. Do you believe in that? You said you don't believe in that as an idea.
Well, no. I mean, I think it sometimes works, but it seems to depend on the I've just been. I've been endlessly disappointed with storms in the UK not dissipating British summer humidity. It's something I think about 6 months of the year. It's very.
That's hyperbole.
It's
What do you want from the storms?
I really want these storms need to work harder at getting rid of the moisture in the air.
Well, thunder only happens when it's raining. That's how you remember.
Oh, well, Fleetwood Mac.
Not true, by the way.
Fleetwood Mac is not true.
No, Fleetwood Mac is true.
They are true.
Thunder only happens when it's raining.
No, it's not true. Thunder can happen when it's not raining. Do rainbows only? I want a verb that would be appropriate. I don't want to say happen.
Appear.
Arch.
Yeah, they can only curve. You can't have a straight rainbow.
I was going to say something, but I shan't. It was about to do with
I think
with Pride Month,
right.
because that's what we're doing. But apparently, if you're in an airplane, and yes, it's completely circular.
I've seen a picture of it. I've never seen it in real life. Yeah,
I don't think I have.
You can see the whole circle of the rainbow.
And talking of whole in a different spelling, if you jumped out of that plane, do you think you could fall through the rainbow and at one point be surrounded on all sides by red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet? And
be with it enough to appreciate it and not just yelling your head off as you plunge to your doom.
I'm assuming this is a planned jump.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
That says something about my head first.
I get that, because I think when someone says aeroplane, they assume commercial, and people generally don't jump out of commercial aircraft.
Right.
So that makes sense as well.
I think no, there wouldn't be a time when you're falling through a rainbow and you'd be surrounded by rainbow.
I don't think you would either.
It's like it doesn't have a shape. Maybe or the shape that it has is only ever relevant to the person looking at it.
Yeah, it's more of a relative.
Yeah, rainbows are relative.
Rainbows are relative, and is a rainbow a circle? Yeah.
I mean, so then there's no pot of gold.
Well,
Now, this is why I've had you on. You are an expert.
at what? At
Rainbology.
Oh, that is what a lovely thing. What do you study? Oh, biology. What do you study? Physics. What do you study? I study rainbology. Yes, rainbology.
Yeah.
I love that.
No pots of gold. None
No.
for us.
Well, unless you define pot of gold by a feeling of great satisfaction and awe at the natural world.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
Yeah,
don't.
okay.
I don't. I would,
Okay, to be clear,
to be
I
clear,
would never.
I would rather a pot of gold because I could appreciate nature in any other respect as well. So pots of gold would be great.
I found something, speaking of great, that I think you'll really enjoy.
Oh yeah.
This was from the archive of my grandparents.
For the listeners, Rob has just taken out of a box an enormous spiked lizard with 9 heads. It's a hydra.
Yeah, it's been alive since 1912.
Well,
We don't know why.
It's quite young for a hydra.
We stopped feeding it 20 years ago.
Yeah, but it eats its own heads.
Look at this.
Cautionary Verses by H. Belloc?
I believe so. Hilaire, I believe, is his first name.
Hilaire.
Yeah.
Wow, 432 pages of moral instruction. Oh, wow.
Yes.
And the picture on the front, for those who are listening, is it's a little Tweedledum and Tweedledee with a very tall, portly man wearing a red suit, showing his... They're not called glasses. What are those? It's not a lorgnette, it's a...
It's pince-nez?
That's great. No, I think well, this one's on a chain, but with no, yeah. Looking at a very, very, very little man wearing a red tailcoat. So, okay, let's have a look at this. Oh, wow, they're all
illustrated.
Illustrated.
Some of them are quite long, but you can find some pretty succinct one. Have you got one?
I just saw the great anteater of Toulouse.
Yeah.
Consumes, or people say he does, not only what his name implies, but even ordinary flies. And marmosets and chimpanzees are happy on the nuts of trees. And that's it. That's all it says. I'm going to have to do... This is brilliant. Where did you find this?
Boxes that hadn't been opened since we emptied my grand's house when she died. So these are from so long ago.
Oh, it's amazing. There you go. Page 15, the Book of Beasts. The polar bear. The polar bear is unaware of cold that cuts me through. For why? He has a coat of hair. I wish I had one too. That's lovely.
Yeah, exactly.
The whale is just the whale that wanders round the pole.
Oh.
That's it.
So it's stripper?
That's what I did think of that.
I'll be the one to say it. Do you want to come in? Come in.
Hello. How are you? Oh, here we go. The hippopotamus. I shoot the hippopotamus. That's sad. And yes, with bullets made of platinum. And there's a picture of a man next to a hippopotamus that is upside down with its legs up, dead, but it's also smiling.
Ah!
Mm.
Well,
You see that?
because it was platinum, it was like, at least I went out under some precious metal.
Bougie death.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Why
like
did he shoot it? He didn't explain it.
No, he didn't.
How's that moral instruction then?
Oh. The dodo, it just says the dodo. The dodo used to walk around once you turn the page and take the sun and air. This is brilliant. I love it. I was going to say, I've been thinking about the word alphabet lately. I haven't been thinking about the word alphabet. Well, I have in a way. Because it's... We call the alphabets of other languages alphabets when they're not alphabets.
Such as?
The Arabic alphabet is not an alphabet, it's an abjad.
I don't know what an abjad
I think
is.
it's actually called an incomplete abjad. An abjad is a series of symbols used to write a language that only writes consonants and not vowels. And I think Arabic is called an incomplete abjad because you can write long vowels and not short vowels. So Hebrew is another,
I was going to say,
abjad.
Hebrew's an abjad, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
the vowels are like dots above and below.
yes, but you can
Or
write
lines and...
some vowels like oo and ah. You can write. So they're incomplete abjads. Anyway, they're not alphabets, they're abjads. Abjad! And I think the word comes from the first 2 letters of the Arabic alphabet. Something like that. Like
The Arabic
alphabet.
Abjad. You just called it an alphabet. You said it comes from the Arabic alphabet.
That's because I didn't want to repeat the word abjad. I would say the Arabic abjad comes from... Oh, damn.
Damn you!
No, it's got me.
Now, hold on.
I mistook.
Would the characters in Chinese count as a...
No.
That's not an alphabet or an abjad.
That's... what do you call it? Well, they're characters because they...
Is it glyphs? No.
don't think they're I don't know what the definition of glyph would be, but they are pictograms essentially that represent entire concepts rather than individual morphemes or sounds.
Yeah.
But I suppose they could be morphemes, but they're not individual consonants or vowels. In Chinese, a character generally, one character is one syllable, but that syllable could be made up of a consonant and a vowel and a tone.
And you can kind of combine them and put them over the top of each other, and they make different meanings.
You can put them next to each other.
Yeah.
You don't usually kind of.
Oh, I don't mean
superimpose.
as in literally you would, but there are some characters that are like one character superimposed on another to make a new character, and the whole concept
combined. They're recombined. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the base of those characters. I think is called radicals, as in roots.
Oh,
so
right.
and this is the $1 million question, or £1 million English in the UK. How does a Mandarin or Cantonese or a speaker use a dictionary?
Well, yeah, hold on. If you don't have...
Because we use a dictionary based on the sound of the word and the order of our alphabet. So if you wanted to look up the word flower, you go to F, and then you go through the alphabet again for L and
Right.
O and W.
No, yeah.
But you can't do that with Mandarin as it stands, because you don't have a phonetic way of spelling it. They actually do now. It's called pinyin.
I've heard of this, but that's to sort of incorporate like more international or Western style.
I think they
ways
actually
of
use it themselves. Well, no. So
Oh.
pinyin uses the Roman alphabet, the same alphabet as we
Yeah.
do, with slightly different rules and little dashes and things to show the tones of the words.
Right.
But because the symbol itself doesn't really, it doesn't tell you how to pronounce it.
Yeah.
So what they can do, I've heard in a dictionary, is look up the radical. So the symbols will be kind of grouped together based on the main root little symbol within the main symbols that they use. So if you had, I mean, this is not a Chinese concept, but if you had, I don't know, 2 small circles, a big circle, and then a little cross, and you knew that the little cross was the main radical of the symbol, you'd look up all the words in the dictionary that have a little cross as their radical.
Which presumably could be just a vast array of very different things.
Well, I think
that...
they do have light. I could be talking complete rubbish here. I think they have light indications of pronunciation, but it's nowhere. I was going to say it's nowhere near like English, but English is a nightmare for pronunciation.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
Do you know our spelling is called? We don't have phonetic spelling. We have derivational spelling. Do you know that?
No, but hold on. Some words are phonetic in English.
They are, yes, but our spelling,
By and large, is not.
by and large, doesn't tell us. Well, it's nowhere near as if you compare it to other languages like Spanish or
Esperanto.
very phonetic, or Czech, or I don't know, Russian even. It's very unphonetic, but I just flicked the mic there. But weirdly, you can tell what language our words originated from based on their spelling.
Yeah.
So hence we have derivational spelling rather than phonetic spelling.
Yes.
So if you think of a word like psychology,
Yeah.
you know that it's spelled
Greek.
exactly because it's ps at the beginning.
Yeah.
Whereas a word like tough probably comes from
Anglo-Saxon.
exactly because of that OUGH. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And then centennial or something like that would be Latin.
Yeah, something like that. Yes.
To cent, that's
Exactly.
C
Yeah.
for 100,
Yeah.
century,
Exactly.
centurion.
Yeah. I mean that's kind of the root of it. But yes, exactly. Or I'm just trying to think of another word that would be. It's more the kind of because we don't pronounce psychology. But yes. So we have derivational spelling, which is totally bloody pointless for most people trying to read English.
But is that because English has just like evolved and we've just bolted on different parts as we've been invaded by different people, and then after we stopped being invaded, then we started invading, and then I'm not using that. I
you
didn't
and I.
invade anybody.
No, I think we should come clean. Rob and I.
Okay, fine. I did.
We have been invading.
Brixton is now mine.
I own Streatham.
But yeah, I just mean like it's been bolted together over time as opposed to sort of formalised.
Well,
Because the first attempt to formalise it wasn't until like the 16th century or something like
something like that, and they didn't. They stopped halfway through.
Yeah.
So some other words are formalised and some aren't, which is I feel so sorry for people trying to learn English.
But it's also so emblematic, symptomatic of the way that we think about. It's like
I do personally love it.
Yeah,
I love fast spelling.
Do you know? Okay, one of my favorite. We're really geeking out about language, which is great. One of my favorite words, the derivation of which is, which has a story. Because sometimes you look up, I wonder where this word originates from.
The etymology.
And like a lot of the time you look at it, and you're like, oh, it was that for that, and then I know it's this. Oh, okay, that's not very exciting. But sometimes there's sort of a little story. So the word soon.
Tell me.
Anglo-Saxon word. In the original Anglo-Saxon, which isn't a language, but the word soon from whichever Viking group brought it over, that meant now.
Interesting.
And so we'd be like, will you do it soon? Yes, I will do it soon.
But because everyone was so lazy and disorganized.
Eventually, it just became in a bit.
Wow. So in a sense, it's as if the word now... Well, actually, we actually do that.
Yeah.
All right, I'll do it now. And actually, we don't. And no one. But what's funny? Think about this. We use the future tense with the word now.
Yeah.
If you think about it, it makes no sense at all. I'll do it now.
I will. So yeah.
So
in the future, I'll do it in the present.
Right. Which gives you an indication that what we actually mean by "I'll do it now" is "I'll do it at my convenience," which is not at the present time. But that's very confusing for foreign learners of English. Why do we use the present? But we can always use the future. But why do we also use the future? I don't know, something like, I've eaten far too much. I feel really full. Well, if you will eat that amount, when actually we're talking about the past, I think it's because will also has a connotation of volition.
Like, you chose it.
Yeah. Because like in German, ich will doesn't mean I will. It means I want. So it's probably that.
Right, because the will to...
Exactly, the will to do something,
The will to succeed.
And I would imagine that volition, the vul bit, and will are connected. But, but I'll do it now is a really confusing concept.
It is. I feel like there's loads of these in English.
Oh, I mean in every language.
Do you think English is a worse culprit, or do you think everyone's got their own sort of...
No, I think everyone's got their idiosyncratic kind of phraseology.
I was talking to someone who I think forgive me, it was either Spanish or Italian they said that they were fluent in. And I was teaching their child about the subjunctive clause. Which is very exciting. Clause.
That's another word that gets me hot.
Wait, so do you want to explain to people what the subjunctive is? We're getting so nerdy, so...
The subjunctive. Okay, get a cup of coffee. Clear your calendar for 9 days. No, it's fine. Well, let's see if you agree with this definition. The subjunctive. Okay. Well, firstly, we have to go back to the way we communicate actions.
Yep.
Right. So verbs, doing words, actions. I sing, you eat, we, drink. Things have mostly to do with consuming things in my view. So usually we speak in a way that, well, not usually necessarily, but very often we speak in a way that describes what indeed is happening.
Yes.
You and I are talking. We talk. We are talking now. We call that the indicative. And the indicative is a style of communication which is attached to reality. It's called a mood, the indicative mood. You can also have the subjunctive mood. And the subjunctive mood does not really talk about reality, but it talks about the hypothetical or desire that something happen. And I've just used the subjunctive there.
Yes.
So the subjunctive in English is a bit sneaky because it's quite hard to identify because its form, the form of the verb is very similar to others. But the easiest one is if I were you.
Yes.
If I said, okay, some people do say if I was you in a kind of colloquial sense. Yeah. If you're going to be really grammatical about it, technically wrong. So it should be if I were you, because of course I cannot be you. And if I say if I was you, then that's saying, well, if I had been your identity, I mean, it just is ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah. So we use if I were you to mean I understand that this is an impossibility, but I'm communicating this hypothetical situation that I've created in my mind, and we use the subjunctive.
Yes.
Was that ridiculously convoluted?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, sorry.
And were I you, I wouldn't have used quite a convoluted.
How would you describe it?
It's no, I'd describe it like that, but I was describing it to a 12-year-old, so I would probably just not have any of the highfalutin language.
No, of course, I would not describe it in that way.
No, of course not. But I was talking to the mum, and she was like, in Spanish or Italian, whichever one it was, she was like, we use the subjunctive. You might know this. They use the subjunctive all the time.
Yep.
So she learned it incredibly easily.
Yep, both languages do. Italian uses it slightly more.
Okay.
But they do. You cannot... well, it's interesting, this, actually. My Italian is not great, but in my experience, a lot of people don't use... It's called the congiuntivo in Italian, and the subjuntivo in Spanish, so basically subjunctive. It's considered kind of very educated and precise to use it in all the times at which you need to in Italian. However, in Spanish, I think they don't really know what you mean unless you use it. It's really, really important that you use it.
So it's like more this the dominant mode of communication.
No, it's not. No, but there are rules that you cannot break to use the subjunctive. Generally, and this is true for most of the Romance languages, by which I mean Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, Romanian. Although I don't know Romanian enough to comment on it. Catalan, Occitan, all those kinds of languages. Ones that came from Latin, but certainly mainly Spanish, French, and Italian, and Portuguese. Generally, you use the subjunctive when you say that you want someone else to do something. So the construction I just use in English is quite simple. I want Rob to sing. So I use the to form of the verb. Sorry?
You don't.
Well, obviously now I do. Yeah, beautiful. The glass is shattered. But you can also say, in a slightly elevated form, I want that Rob sing. So those two sentences mean the same thing. But if you said, I want that Rob sing, you would be looked at rather strangely, because that's not how we speak in modern English. No. I have also just used the subjunctive in English, by the way.
Exactly. It's not like wrong. It's just not the...
archaic.
Yes, exactly.
And slightly pretentious, I suppose. But that's the way you have to say it in Spanish, French, and Italian. There is a slightly different way that one can say it in Portuguese as well, but in Spanish, French, and Italian, that's how you have to say it, and you have to use the subjunctive.
Or it's unintelligible or just incorrect.
Someone would know what you were talking about.
But it's a dead giveaway that you don't know how to speak.
Oh, absolutely. It would be, I suppose, a little bit like saying in English, me to want Rob sings. You'd say, okay, well, I know what you mean, but that's...
It's going to take more than that to get me singing, buddy.
Yeah, right. It's very much not English. So yeah, maybe not quite as bad as that, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
So you have to put the second verb. You have to put the action of the person you want to be doing the thing into the subjunctive.
Yeah.
And that's...
I wonder if it will die out in English.
It won't with me.
This is your hill. Well, It can't, can it? Because God Save the Queen is the subjunctive.
You know what? It's interesting, this, because it's...
That's not going anywhere.
Is it the subjunctive, or is it also the imperative?
Can't it be both?
Well, yeah, can it be both? Yeah, because you're right, because usually we'd say, if God actually saved the Queen, we'd say God saves on a regular basis, or has saved or saved the Queen. Yeah. But are you commanding God, or are you saying, I desire that God save the Queen? I suppose you're saying both.
I suppose
it's not really a command. You're not saying,
God,
save the Queen!
Oi, God! Queen's in a bit of trouble. Would you mind helping out?
God! Or are you just exclaiming, going, God! Save the Queen!
There's no comma in the expression.
But that would be cool, wouldn't it? Yeah. God! Because then you could just exchange it for any kind of, expletive.
Yeah, or there must be a word for that, yeah.
Zoons!
Which means God's wounds, right?
God's wounds, yes.
So there we go.
Struth, rather.
God's truth. Almost all of those are to do with something religious.
Most things seem to be.
They're blasphemy, aren't they? I mean, in their basic form.
Well, do not take God's name in vain, I suppose it would be, yeah.
So that's like one of the things you're most not allowed to do, and everyone does all the time. Now we are going to hell.
We are going to hell. Hell is full. But it's a taboo, and taboos, when you articulate a taboo, it actually helps you deal with the world. It's an analgesic, isn't it?
Right.
Like when you know the whole, the reason why swearing is so useful, but this only happens if you use these things sparingly. That if you swear, which I suppose using Blaspheming would be a type of swearing. Right? It actually helps you deal with pain. You can cope with pain better when you.
So if you stub your toe and you're rubbing and you're like, oh,
right,
that's a pressure valve that you're actually releasing.
Unless you've used that word so often that it's now no longer in your taboo section.
Well, because it's gone to a different category in
it's
your
now a normal
hardwiring.
word.
It's just
right.
another word for something else, so it doesn't have the power anymore.
Exactly. And so there is rhyme and reason to why society and all your parents say don't use that word.
Yeah.
They're actually doing you a favour because they're saving a painkiller for you for whenever you really need it.
As long as you don't get too fanatical and you're like, I will never use the word, and then you just keep it all bottled up, and then that's worse.
I suppose that's like just sitting on a huge amount of cash and never using it.
Yeah.
Well, spend a bit of money. Treat yourself. Treat yourself, mate.
What do you do if you won the lottery again?
No, don't. I'll start getting No, I have not won the lottery. If only. What would I do if I won the lottery?
I'd give a lot to charity, and then I'd make sure my mum has a house, and
etc., etc.
All of that stuff, fine.
Yeah, all that stuff, that's given. So I would. Okay, let's split it into two. Let's call it the selfish and the selfless. Okay. Well, I know we've spoken a bit about the selfless, but there are other things. But the selfish, which is the most interesting, I would go and spend time in as many different countries as possible. This is going to sound very predictable. Attending language schools of those countries, so I could learn as many languages as I. But at the same time, living like a king, because usually you have to kind of slum it slightly when you're doing those things.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, I would do that. And I suppose, I mean, it's not really selfless. Does altruism exist? But I would. Just this, I would love to kind of, in some way, use it. It's language related again. To kind of create more of a stronger network for international actors, because I think that would be. I don't know whether you've said this in your introduction, but I help actors to, as you do, to pronounce English.
Oh, right, yes, sure. I mean, I have done a bit of that, but you are an expert in
this. So this is something I do reasonably frequently, and I love it. It's fascinating. But it's really hard, and the reason that international actors come here or they go to the United States is because in the Western world, the English-speaking, I suppose, productions are the ones that seem to...
they get the most eyeballs, they get the most bums on seats,
exactly.
They make the most money.
And we've got a very good tradition of it, and that makes sense. But people want to sound, I suppose, quote-unquote, more like a native speaker.
Yeah.
So I help them do that, at the same time saying to them, don't get rid of who you are and what you do. Use it as, it's a toolkit. I say, look, I want to be able to give you this set of tools that you want to use them whenever you wish. I don't want to get rid of anything. I want to add extra.
Right.
That's my kind of disclaimer. And I don't know. I just think these people are incredibly brave, because I've never done it. I haven't moved to, I don't know, Belarus. I don't know. That's obviously been in the news. To try to be a Belarusian actor. Right. I just love the word Belarusian. But plenty of people have come to the United Kingdom and live and work in London, and they pursue acting careers, and it must be unbelievably difficult. Yeah. We know how difficult it is for anyone anyway. I suppose they have a niche, but niches are very quickly filled.
Well, yeah, and how many casting calls go out for a native Belarusian speaker? It's,
I've just got an email asking for one right now. Dear Alex, what would you do with lottery?
Let's see. I'm not going to buy a yacht. Don't worry.
Well, you can buy a yacht if you want.
No, I don't want to spend my life at sea. As long as I can come on it. No, that seems. Then you have to be. I'd like to be captain of a ship, but I don't want to be the CEO of a yacht. So maybe I'd buy a small crabbing vessel.
A small crabbing vessel.
Okay, I might be dreaming.
I feel that you might not have to win the lottery to buy a small crabbing. Well, maybe if it were a crabbing vessel.
Yeah.
Okay, is this off the coast of Portugal or
No,
Sardinia or something?
It's definitely just going to be the Med. Yeah,
Med. Okay,
I'm just going to
full on, not Atlantic and
No.
yeah.
Ideally, I'll have a little coastal villa in each country of the Med, and I go around crabbing my way around the coasts.
That sounds lovely. I would definitely like to come and help you do that.
Please come on board. There's only space for 3 people. It is a small vessel.
3. This is tiny. Can you? That's fine. Wait, 2 people.
Well,
2 people and some crabs, presumably.
Yeah, no.
I mean, depends how big the crabs are. I don't know what they're like in the Med. What can you name every country?
Oh my god.
Okay, this shouldn't be too difficult.
This might be difficult because there might be some edge cases that I don't know if they come to the sea. For example, Albania does have some coast on the Med.
Okay.
It's like the tiniest little bit, I believe.
Okay, no, I'm sure. I'm
see,
sure
you're
you're
not
right.
even
No, I'm
really
sure. I
sure.
hadn't even thought of Albania.
Well, there we go. See?
Well, there we go. Poor Albania. Sorry, Albania.
I mean, let's do it. So let's start with... Why don't we start at the...
From west to east?
Yes, exactly. And maybe at Malta or something.
At Malta?
Gibraltar, rather.
So
then
no.
we're on the 180.
Portugal first.
Is that? Oh, that's further south. Oh, of course, because then it goes into North Africa.
Yeah, so you've got...
Okay, so let's start at that angle and do a 360 degree.
I see what you mean. Like a clock. Right.
Like a clock, if you will.
Clockwise or like a clock. Clock-esque. Pertaining to
clockenment.
Clockenment.
Yeah. Okay, so you got Portugal.
Portugal,
first.
yeah. Then you got Spain.
Yeah.
I suppose you've got the UK because you've got Gibraltar.
Ooh.
Oh no!
No, but you know what though? Gibraltar voted more in favour of Brexit than anywhere else in the UK.
So interesting. Let's not even. But
I
it's very
know.
interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, Spain. France.
Ticking round. Germany. No. Italy. No, wait, hold on. San Marino has a little bit on the coast?
I thought San Marino was landlocked. Is it coastal?
There's Andorra, there's San Marino.
Andorra is definitely...
in the mountains.
Andorra's landlocked.
San Marino is right by...
Is it on the coast? You're probably right. Look it up.
I don't know. I'm not 100%, but it's right by it if it's not. And you'd think they'd nab a little bit.
Of coast?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. San Marino. The only reason I know of San Marino's existence is because of Eurovision. From many years ago. Which I love.
Was it a particular entry?
I can't remember. They weren't in it every year, and I was always disappointed. I always look forward to San Marino. No, it's landlocked.
Okay.
But it is very close to Rimini. It is very close to the coast.
Okay, yeah.
But it's landlocked.
They didn't quite...
No, I shouldn't be looking at the map, though. I haven't... all I've seen is San Marino.
Oh, sure.
No, all I've seen is San Marino. So we've got France. Then we've got Italy.
Yes. And then we have to go sort of round and up again.
Yeah, and of course you've got, Corsica and Sardinia, but they're French and Italian. And then you've got...
Now we're getting into some tricky bits here.
Right. I know that we've got Montenegro and Croatia.
Yes.
Haven't we?
We
but
do.
I think I've missed something at the top.
So do I. Something between... Is that where Romania is, perhaps?
Romania.
Because it's next to Italy, isn't it?
I think Romania is on the Black Sea.
Right.
Is it on both?
What has this podcast turned into?
What are we doing? Okay, maybe we should not do the entire...
No, just get the map up. We'll stop guessing.
Okay, we'll just get the map
I'm pretty sure Albania was right.
No,
Greece is in there, obviously.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Right. So we've got... we stopped at Italy. Then you've got Slovenia, Croatia, Montenegro, Albania. Lots of coast. Lots of Mediterranean coast.
Nice.
Greece, Turkey.
Yes.
Then you're into Lebanon, Israel, Egypt. So now we're coming back again.
Fertile Crescent.
Libya, Tunisia, Algeria, and Morocco. Yeah, there we go.
And that's it. That completes the loop.
Oh, and of course, the country of Almiranda.
What's that? Is it like a seasteading nation? Is that what's going on there? Or?
It's an ancient civilization that was destroyed by moon lasers.
No, stop lying.
1209. No, I made it up. What was it? Almiranda.
Almiranda. It sounded quite good.
Yeah, it was quite.
And you're looking at a map, so I just assumed you would tell the truth.
Yeah, I was even smirking as well. But then there are some. Talking of names, which you could believe or not, let's go much more local.
Okay.
The trains.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. That sounded very. The trains. I think I was going to Ockenden, so it's near Upminster.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
But I got the train, and it started listing stations which, honestly, sounded like they were making them up on the spot. So this train, this is the 1209 to Ockenden, calling it, and you kind of got these like Upminster. Okay, Wellersbury, Cronsfoot, Dingclam North, Dingclam South, Groshna, Vridistklish. And you're like, I'm sorry, these aren't real places. They were so incredible. They sounded like a kind of children's book. Like a Roald Dahl, I don't know, something. Yeah. I just loved it. And there are a few stations like that. Just think about the next time you're on a train and you hear stations you've never heard, imagine there's a person literally making them up on the spot. And then you're surprised when there's a sign that says North Winkertston.
We told you.
Yeah. Sticky Willie South.
Have you ever seen the world's longest place name?
You mean the Welsh?
No.
Oh no.
Not
Welsh? Where is it?
It's in New Zealand.
If that had been a QI moment, it would have gone.
Yeah.
It's a Kiwi name.
It is a Kiwi name. Yes, it's from the Maori language, and the translation of it is so good. I'm going to have you read out. Good luck actually pronouncing the word itself because it's 85 letters long,
and it's also presumably in Maori.
And it's in Maori.
So
they've anglicised it, so you might not get the pronunciation
entirely
correct.
Do you want me to read it in quote unquote in Maori as opposed to Maori?
I don't know.
In my version of what? Oh my god!
85 letters all on the mic. Here we go.
In a very anglicised and poorly replicated version of Maori. Taumata wakatangi hanga ko awa tamatea duripuka kapi ki maunga horonukupoka iwenuaki tanatahu. I could have done that in one breath. Why did I breathe? That's really annoying. I was thinking I could. Okay, so that's.
I was watching you do that. I was like, has he taken mushrooms? That was easily the weirdest experience I've ever had on the show.
So it means, wow, the hill got its lengthy name from a native warrior named Tamatea. So legend has it that after his brother was killed in a fight with another tribe, Tamatea spent the following days grieving his loss by playing his flute on the hill. The Maori, the indigenous Polynesian people of New Zealand, wanted to name the location in his honour and chose what is now the hill's official name. It roughly, here we go, I should have just skipped to this. It roughly translates to the summit where Tamatea, the man with the big knees, the slider, climber of mountains, the land swallower who travelled about, played his nose flute to his loved one. You know what? There are many things here that are brilliant. Nose flute is wonderful. But you know what my favourite bit is?
Which bit?
The land swallower who travelled about. Just travelled about. It was all really aimless and he didn't really have a plan. And he was a land swallower, but he travelled about. Yeah. So where's Tamatea? Oh, he's on his gap year. And he's travelling about.
Got a plan? Nah.
Nah.
Apart from swallowing land, obviously.
Swallowing land and playing his nose flute to his loved one. Oh, Catherine's gone with him. Yeah. You're being called.
Am I?
Oh,
God.
Maybe it's New Zealand telling us to stop this because I mispronounced that beautiful name.
Hello.
Hello. Her Majesty Revenue and Customs. Oh. This call is to inform you that there is a tax fraud case registered under your name. You have to press 1 to get connected to the officer of HMRC. Then the warrant will be issued under you. Investigation Division of HMRC, how can I help you?
Hi there, are you really HMRC?
Yes, I'm the investigation officer from the HMRC.
Oh, cool. What's your name, please?
My name is Officer Sam Watson with the badge number 771018.
No, it's not, is it? And you don't have a badge, do you?
Suck my dick, motherfucker.
HMRC can't say that to me.
You recorded that. That's brilliant.
Suck my dick, motherfucker.
Oh my
Put my
god.
dick in your mouth and just suck it, motherfucker. Just put my dick in your mouth and just suck it.
He's still doing it.
Tell him he's being recorded on a podcast.
Just do it.
Oh
Send me a daughter. I want to fuck your daughter.
Oh my god.
my god, this is really bad. Sorry, what was your badge number again? I must write it down.
Just send me daughter. I want to fuck your daughter, stepdaughter. And you have your wife. I want to fuck your wife.
Oh my god.
This is really weird, dude.
Hello,
Oh my
Your
god.
mom.
Oh,
I want sex.
all of my family, all at once.
I want to do.
Oh dear, you mustn't.
I want to do sex with your wife.
Should we have sex first? Me and you? Just test it out? I need to see if you're good enough. Bye-bye.
Oh my god.
What the fuck just happened?
That was recorded. That was brilliant. That was absolutely brilliant. I wonder if... I mean, I feel that we should, in a kind of Joe Lycett way...
Oh yeah. Expose
Expose that. Obviously, you can do what you like with the expletives and the horrible insults, but that's interesting.
He really went down the mountain fast,
He
didn't
did.
he?
That was incredible.
I feel like he should have maybe tried a bit harder to convince me he worked for HMRC.
Do you think maybe they have a certain period of time where they go, okay, if this person... I don't know how these
so.
might... How do...
I would think they would have... I worked in a call centre briefly for like a charity, and you had a script that you would give out, and then if it was based on a 3 no's, as in they give you 3 no's, and if they've given you a 3rd no, then they're not going to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
So they give you the first no, and you that's when you go down to this different part of the script where you're like, okay, so, and you adapt to that, and they give you another one, you try and adapt, they give you another one, you're like, all right, see you later. It feels like this guy's next drop-down menu was sex with your family.
Oh, I mean, okay, he can't have been having a good day, can he?
It sounded like a crowded office as well.
It did sound... I suppose you could just play a tape recorder of a crowded office, or put a YouTube video on of crowded office.
Right.
Let's see if there's a YouTube video of crowded office.
I'm sure there is.
And I'm going to pretend to be someone, and then you see how good it sounds. Crowded office sound. There we go. Crowded office sound. Office ambience or ambiance.
And I bet it's got like 4 million views. That means someone's making money off this. Okay, bring. Am I me? Bring. Hello?
Hello, this is HMRC calling. Who am I speaking to, please?
This is Robert Neumark Jones. Is everything okay?
Oh, no, absolutely. Mr. Neumark Jones, we've just had something that's come up
Sorry,
on the
I can't
system.
hear you. It sounds quite busy where you are.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. I'm just in the HMRC office. We've just had something flagged on the system, which is indicated to us that... I'm sorry, so can you hear this? Is that all right?
They're very loud.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll just turn it... I'll just move away from the noisy corner of the office. Yes, that you owe HMRC £800, specifically £847.70.
Okay.
So I'm just going to have to ask you for your bank details.
Oh,
if
right.
That's all right.
I don't just do it through the website like I always do every single time.
We're trying to streamline our process and give much more personal... I feel like I'm doing much better than this guy did. I'm sorry.
Well, you still haven't brought up sex with my family, so
Well,
on
no, I
default
don't.
you're doing quite well.
Well, exactly. But yeah, I mean, we just do not know how much of that situation was... I mean, obviously it was all fake, but where was he?
Where was he?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a really interesting episode of a podcast called Reply All that recently ran into a load of controversy that is irrelevant to the story I'm going to get into, but that's just a flag up for anyone who likes it and knows about the story. But they actually followed a crank caller type like this, trying to get money, like all the way, and ended up in this call center in India that was run by the mob to give away the ending. But an amazing story, following it all the way, and like he built up this relationship for months, and like when they tried to get there, he was stood up. Then he was met by someone pretending to be that person, and then like the mafia don kind of turns up, and he's like, "What the fuck are you doing around here?" And it's like, yeah, you just sort of think, oh, it's just some chancer somewhere, but actually it's like it's a full operation.
I mean, still, to have recorded that kind of conversation on the phone is brilliant. I think that's a first. I mean, it's obviously not a first, but that's a
I
first for me.
I didn't think you was going to give me such gold straight away. It was very generous.
I've engineered this. I thought it would be entertaining. No, that's incredible. So yeah, with that, we've covered quite a lot of.
We have, haven't
things,
we?
yeah.
So that's probably a good place to wrap it up. But before we do, something that we do sometimes do on the show, as a sort of formulaic way of wrapping things up, as are we 3 weeks away from opening up fully?
Oh yeah.
Cautious but irreversibly.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
So after 18 months of COVID and lockdown and all of that, long period of time, what's been your COVID high and your COVID low?
COVID high. COVID low.
Dun, dun, dun.
COVID, yes. COVID no. COVID high was spending a period of time with my parents that I would never normally have done. I went to stay with them for the first lockdown. This is going to sound very privileged, which it is, in the countryside. With mum and dad. I'm 35, and why would I have gone to stay with them for? I think it was 5 months before I came back in September when things lifted, before they went down again.
Yeah.
And that was lovely. It meant that I could spend time with them as an adult, with no one asking questions as to why I was at home doing that, because it would have been a strange thing to do otherwise. So that was definitely high. The low was while I was with my parents. My poor father had to go into hospital for 6 weeks, not because of COVID. He's fine. So that was low. So I would say, there we go. So that's a kind of bittersweet time with my parents. But actually, I was very glad to be at home while Dad was in hospital, because then I could be with my mother as well. She would have been rattling around in a big old house. So I suppose that was a low. Not suppose, that was definitely. But actually, it was very good that I was there. So I think all in all, I think that would have happened regardless of pandemic. It had nothing to do with COVID. Yeah. So actually, looking at things in a very positive light, I was there because of the pandemic, and the fact that I was there was a very good thing.
Right.
So that's what I was saying. Now that sounds like an ending on a low. This is not. He's absolutely fine. It's all great.
You chose which way round to do it. I said, give me a high, give me a low, and you just.
But I feel like, yes, I could have given the low first, but it's because I'm so brimming with positivity. The positive came first. So yes, but that's What has anyone asked you what your high
No,
was?
of course not. My guests are all selfish arseholes.
They must have done.
No, a few of them have. Yeah.
Well, tell me again. Well, not me again. Tell the listeners again. Me for the first time.
Low. You can guess. One Jewish boy, West End.
Of course, and that, presumably.
And the knee.
And the knee.
Knee not as bad as the career being torpedoed.
No, it will relive. But yes, that's horribly disappointing. Absolutely.
Yes. And the high just happened 5 minutes ago on the phone.
That was definitely a high. Absolutely. Oh, well, I feel like it. You know what? I'm going to talk about about an even higher high. That I think is. I have realised, not that I didn't before, but realised in the last year how lucky we all are to have friends and family, and to have been given the opportunity to miss people. Because when it's come to the point where we've reconnected, not over Zoom or whatever, in the flesh, it's been such a lovely experience, and something which I'm very glad that, or I hope that I won't take for granted. I'm sure we'll all go back to normal instantly, but whatever that means. But in the meantime, I'm enjoying the things that I took for granted before. And it's made me realise that life's about the little things, isn't it? I don't know why I'm doing this now. It's because I'm talking about sentimentality, and Brits can't talk about sentimentality.
No, and also the problem with the structure of the question is it sort of forces you to give this grand statement, and then as you start to give the grand statement, it's my fault, I'm blaming myself for it. You think, well, I'll wrap this up in a very neat, nice way, and you're like, I'm digging a hole here. How do I get out? And you think you found the answer, and you say something that was kind of profound, and you're like, yeah, but who am I to say something profound? I better undercut that. Then you've undercut it, and you're like, well, that's not a good way to end it. And
this is the British condition. How about? Well, I've got an idea of how we can end it.
Okay.
We both count down from 5. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that's it. No one is. We both do it together, and no one is allowed to say anything after 1. Oh, I mean, you might do an outro, but I can't.
Okay, ready?
5,
4, 3...
No, wait, I've got to thank you first. It's been a pleasure, and it's lovely to see you, and thank you very much. And I hope it's not been totally off the wall and strange. Anyway,
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thanks for listening to the show. If you've enjoyed it, please give us 5 stars and consider becoming a subscriber and maybe even supporting us on Patreon. Really, really, really helps me continue making this show. If you haven't enjoyed it, then you can fuck off. Many, many thanks to Nils Hennis Steer for the amazing music and to Dave Fox for the cool artwork. Please keep coming back every week for more Bliss of the Abyss.
Message 1.